Huh.
Hello folks, and welcome back to the farm. We haven't done a great deal on the farm since our last visit, other than carrying on with the harvesting and sowing of crops to try and earn some money. So hopefully I've now earned enough money that I can take you on to the next step, if you like, or the next easy way to make some money. So the first thing we need to do is take ourselves over to the shop. So that's a triangle button, and we need to go over to the tractors. That's the first thing we need to buy. So what we need to buy, is something that takes an attachment on the front, and having done a bit of research, either one of the stayer can take a attachment. So I think what we're going to do is we'll buy the red one, because I like red. So we need to buy this one for, you can buy either, they're the same price, but we'll buy the red one. And we need to buy an attachment for the front. So what we've got to do is we need to buy a front loader. So there's several attachments associated. Now that's either one of those two, but we must make sure we buy the one that's going to fit our machine. So that one there essentially is the same loader, but that only fits the T4 or the T6. And as we've got the stayer multi, that's the one we need to buy. So we're going to buy this one. Okay, and then we need to buy a bucket. Which is that one there. So we need to buy that bucket there. Okay. And one other piece of equipment we need to buy is, if I've got enough money, is a weight. So we need to buy weights. So I think we'll buy, we've got a choice, but I think we'll buy the heavier of the selection there, so we'll go for that one. Okay. Right. We need now to take ourselves to the shop where we've bought our stuff. We can either walk there, which is quite a long walk, we could drive there, but we're just going to use the D-pad and scroll the way through. Here we are, and this is what we've bought, my friends. So first thing we need to do is drive onto the front loader. It might be easier to actually go into that view. Let's try it and see. We need to go into this view there. And hit attach. Then we need to pick up that bucket. So as you can see, and we now need to pick up the weight. We just gently back onto the weight until it says attach. That's it, and we're ready to rock and roll. So we need to make our way over now to the biogas plant. Do a bit of off-roading here. Just right over in the bottom of the map. We've got a sunroof on our tractor, how about that? And there's our biogas plant. on our right hand side, so we need to go into there. Right, there we are at the biogas plant. Right. So we just leap out. So on this first hopper here, this is the silage that we've been using from our grass cuttings, and over this hopper here, or silo, I don't know what you call it, silo or hopper. This one here is the grass. Now, as you can see, as soon as we walk on it, it actually says blanket. So if we press the blanket, basically what that does, that ferments the grass and turns it into silage. Takes quite a while, but we don't have to do anything else to it now. And what we've actually got to do now is pick up the silage and deposit it in either one of these hoppers here. So let's have a go at that. So I'll just demonstrate the controls too. Right, so what we need to do is press left 1, and that gives us that. And then on the right analog stick, that movement does that. That's a left to right on the right analog stick. That moves the bucket, the tilt on the bucket like that. And up and down does that. You can actually do a combination of the moves. If you put it down too low, you can't steer your tractor, so don't put it down too low. So what we need to do is pick up this silage, so just lower your bucket just above the ground level. We need to pick up this silage here and see the bucket's already full. Just drive into it. It does take a little bit of practice. When manoeuvring left or right, don't do it too fast because you can actually tip your tractor over. What we need to do is deposit that into either one of these. As you see, we've made 2,979 credits. Or it could be pounds, or dollars, or yen, whatever. Just do one more. There we go, folks. The ideal time to do this is actually when you get an offer for a higher price to be paid. It does happen occasionally, and that's obviously the best time to do it, because you can get twice as much sometimes. And really, this is basically just a fill-in job. Once you can mow your grass whilst you're waiting for crops to grow, and bring it round to the silos round here, and then when you've got 10% you can cover it or blanket it, and then when that's fermented, you can actually then come round again and just top up the hoppers or fill up the hoppers. Again, as a little time filler really when you're waiting for stuff to grow. And it's quite a good way of making money, because in actual fact, apart from the initial outlay of the machinery that you've had to buy to do it, the actual grass It's costing nothing. You haven't got to plant the grass or anything. It just grows. So as long as you cut the grass around the perimeters of the field, and by cutting the grass around the perimeter of this field, which is this field, this is not a field, this is the biogas plant. When you cut the grass anywhere around close to here, which we've already done in other videos, you haven't got a massive amount of distance to travel. So it's just a nice little fill-in job and a nice little money earner, as it were. And that's it, folks. You just carry on doing this until you get bored. Nothing happens to the silage if you don't put it into the hoppers. It'll just sit there all the time. And I believe, I'm not sure, I don't know whether we can actually see it, but when you do that, I think you end up, it does actually put stuff into this slurry, I think into that tank, I believe. Probably haven't done enough, but that tank will fill up with slurry eventually. But that is it, folks, basically. That's a nice little way of earning money. Now what I'm going to do, I shall abandon this farm now, as we've done most of the things that we can possibly do at the beginning. So we're going to abandon this farm. I've got another farm that I've been playing for probably a year, so as you can imagine I'm very well advanced on that. So what we'll do is we'll abandon this farm and then we'll use the other farm to do some more demos, because we can see how much we've progressed and what equipment we've bought. Basically starting from this sort of humble beginning on this farm, now what you can achieve in a year. So what we're going to do is we'll shoot over to the other farm and continue this on the other farm. So it will magically transform into a much more intensive farm with a lot more of equipment. So we'll catch you on that one shortly, I should say. So see you in a few minutes, folks. Bye bye for now. Well, folks, as if by magic, we've now teleported to the future, or transported to the future. So we're on the same farm, Westbridge Hills, but this is now after a year's worth of gaming. So I'll just give you a quick guided tour around the farm as fast as I can, so not to bore you too much. Right, so what we do, we're going to go in an anti-clockwise motion around the yard. So first of all, if we look just behind us, just as a quick, that's crop of potatoes that I'm harvesting at the minute and filling up there. So that's where the potatoes go. So we're going to run forward, just go around the machines a quick. Right, so the machine in front of us, that is a sowing machine with a cultivator on the back. So basically you can sow and cultivate at the same time. Makes it a lot quicker than having to cultivate then sow. You do it all in one hit basically. Right, so as we go here, now what we have here is various trailers. Actually probably we better go up through the front. Right, so what we have here is various trailers. So first one is my slurry tanker, that one there. So we'll pop in and say hello to the chickens. So that's the first one, is a slurry tanker. That basically is, we can just transport slurry around the farm, deposit it in things that, or machines that will then spread the slurry across the fields. Well, that obviously speaks for itself. That's a lorry and trailer on the back. That's again for just transporting grain or anything really, but certainly grain to the various sites, the mill and lumberyard if you're transporting wood chips, anything like that. This one here, it's a bit difficult to see, that is another slurry tanker, this one, but this actually spreads the slurry as well as transport it. So the idea being you can use this one to top that one up. This one here is just a normal flatbed. You can transport stuff around the farm, tractors and that, because your lorry travels faster than your tractor, so you can transport things around the farm with that. And I also use that for moving bales of hay. So here we have another, just a trailer. Can't remember what that one does actually. That might be a, I think that's a loading wagon of some description. I think I bought that by mistake, to be honest. So that's a loading wagon. This one here is a manure spreader, as you can see on the back. So you load your manure into that and then drive up and down the field, and it flows it out the back. A bit like the shit hitting the fan, but in actual fact the shit hits the field, but that's the idea behind that. So just looking at, so yeah, this is the chicken. So basically you have one cock, which you can see him strutting his stuff over there. I'm going to resist the temptation to say that's my cock, but there it is. And then to pick up the eggs, you just literally walk over them, pick up the eggs, and then you sell them. The where you sell the eggs is actually by where we make the silage. Right, we'll have a quick charge around these machines. Right, so that is a baler. That one does round bales. You can use that to make bales, obviously, but you can also use it to bale up your grass. And when you've baled up your grass, you use this machine here, which wraps the bales, and then you can actually ferment it then into silage, so you can have bales of silage as well. So that's what that does. That is just a normal baler, square bales. This machine here picks up the round bales, so that just drives around and picks up the bales. This one here again is another slurry spreader. So what it does, this one actually spreads the slurry and also cultivates as well. Again, so it's two jobs in one, that one does. This one here is my what would you call that? That is a loading wagon. That basically picks up the hay and the straw it's deposited on the field, like in the other farm, but that's just a bigger version of the loading wagon there. This one here is, again, that picks up the square bales. That's my truck, and that is a fuel tanker. So if any vehicles run out of fuel on the farm, you just transport that full of diesel and you can top them up again. So quick charge round to this corner here. Whoop, wrong button, sorry folks. That is just, that's a large cultivator. So it's charging here. Right, so in here, that's one of my large combines. That's a small combine. As you can see, the size of the header across there, so it does a wide cut. Right, and here, these are two headers, and these are specifically designed to pick up corn. As I was saying before, that you must make sure you have the right attachments and the right machines for the right crop you're trying to harvest. So them two, that does corn, that goes on the large combine, and that one goes on the smaller one, but they're designed solely to pick up corn. So just have a quick look around here. There's a little trailer there, don't get used. Right, these three here, this one here is a tanker or tank that goes on the front of the tractor for liquid fertilizer that you spray. This one here is the tank plus the sprayer. So once that tank's empty, it tops up from that one. This piece of equipment here, if you do any foresting, when you've cut down trees and you're left with a stump, this piece of equipment here grinds the top of the stump off. so you don't use that now because I only tried it once. Alright, this piece of equipment here is the planter for the potatoes. So again, as I said, specific machines for specific jobs. This piece of equipment here, which actually I've still got in the side, that actually is for planting trees. And somehow we seem to have some trees left in it ready to plant. So that'll be a little job for later on to get another trailer. And this one here is a... what does that do? That plants the corn, I think. So that might sound silly, but I can't remember. So let's have a look and see what we're looking for. Sewing machines. Yeah, so that one actually, yeah, that does the corn and beetroot. And that's just one of a couple of ploughs that we have here. Right, so this is field 16 here, if you remember from the other game. This is field 16, but that's now in crop. And I actually own fields 5 and 6, 11, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 and 20. So let's have a quick trip around the farm now and see what the actual machines are doing. So this one here, this one's planting cannelloni. I'll just set him going, although you don't, it says to fill the machine, but it will actually carry on planting. So that one's planting cannelloni. I'll forget that one for a minute. Alright, this one is preparing field 17. Not sure what I'm going to put into that one yet. We'll come back to them in a minute. That's the greenhouses. Right, so this is the first one we're stopping at. Right, this is where the sheep are. So there's the sheep. You have to keep this trough here full of grass to feed the sheep. And here's the bales of wool. So what we do with this one, I can do it without making too much of a mess of it. This one's got the forklift attachment, so basically we... Oh, as it says, not very good at it. Place this on this trailer here, and once that trailer's full up we take that to the wool mill and make a bit of money off of that. The trailer actually is not designed for carrying bales of wool, it's actually designed for bales of hay and straw, but it's also very useful. I know that's not very straight, but that's not a problem, so we just drop that on there. What we need to do now is this machine here. As it's empty I can't really demonstrate, but what we do with that, I cut the strips of grass which is in front of here. I would do it, but I wanted to do a quick tour. So what we do here, we cut this strip of grass up here, and that fills that up for about 3%, and then we top that up there. And you've got to make sure where we're going to go. If we go to the... You see the productivity of the sheep is 100%, my cattle are only 80%, but we've got to make sure that basically is up to 100%. That's another one, doing cannelloni. Been there. Go back to that one. Right, so this one, that's a cannelloni, so that's self-explanatory, that one, that's just waiting to be topped up wherever the combine harvester is. We'll probably be into that one next. We'll skip that one, skip that one, skip that one, skip that one for now. Right, this is the potato harvester, so what we'll do is we line this one up. Harvest our potatoes for us. He's just finished his job, so we won't bother with him for a moment. Right, so this one, again self-explanatory, this one. Try not to tip the harvester over. This is all cannelloni, this one is. So we're now at the with the cattle are. So what we'll do is, so this here, these are my bales of, that's hay, no that's straw, that's hay. That's the feeding machine. Some more hay, and here in the white is the baled up hay, which is obviously now turned to silage. And this tractor here, or this machine, is affectionately known as a big yellow. So I'll just give you a quick demonstration of what we need to do here. This tractor has got a silage cutter on the top, so we can use that to pick up silage if we need to. What we need to do first, this is a telehandler. This bale is actually rolled over, so it's a bit more difficult to pick up, but basically we pick this one up. Drop that into there. One each, basically we'll have one of each. One of them, I had a bit of an accident and it all got knocked over. I've been on the cider last time I did this and knocked it all over. Right, so we'll pick that one up. Was it cider or was it sheep dip I was drinking? It might have been sheep dip. But looks like I've been drinking the sheep dip again. So we now need, one light one we've had, so we now need one of these green ones. So we're just getting the other telehandler. That's actually got spikes on the front as opposed to forks. Can't remember how to drive the damn thing, huh? Try and grab one of them there. So as you can see, you've got to be on the ball all the time. It's very intensive. And as soon as you start with livestock, you need this to be producing at 100%. You get paid at midnight, if you like. You get the money for it at midnight. Believe it or believe it not, there's meant to be 200 head of cattle in there. So we get into the loading machine. If you look at the chart on the top left, it's basically 33.3, so we've got 100% ore bar, 0.3%, if my maths are any good. So basically all we have to do is unload that into there. And that'll give them about 3-4 days worth of food. That's game days, not actual days. And I'll just empty that into there. Now if we now look, that will change from 80 to 100% in a moment, but that is, so we've now fed the cattle. Now obviously as soon as you've got cattle, you produce this stuff. Manure. This is the silage which is used to feed the cattle with, and that machine that I've just used, that actually will pick that up as well and mix it. Right, let's run over this. Down here I've got some greenhouses. These don't produce a lot of money, but it's just something a little bit different. Because what you do is you keep this topped up with manure here, and that has to be topped up with water there, and that's all you basically do. Keep that topped up, and that will produce, that one's producing tomatoes. As I said, they don't produce a massive amount of money, but they do produce all the time. So once the initial outlay, we haven't got to do anything else. These are exactly the same, but they're just doing lettuces, I think. There's a few tomatoes, but exactly the same principle. Unfortunately, you need to keep a tractor and a water bowser down here to top up. You need to keep the tanker over there topped up, and you get your water from here. And like everything else, there's a cost involved in that. This is your automatic milking machine for your cattle. So that's what we've done there. Right, so where have we got to go to now? Just another field doing, is that the same one? Right, yeah, same one doing Callaloni. Right, now we are now into the where the silage is. So here, as you can see, I've got, this one's full of silage, ready to go into the biogas plant. If you remember from the other game, this one I've started to use. That one's being topped up, ready to go, and that one's ready to go. So as you remember from the other game, that's what we're doing there. And I've got myself the twin of Big Yeller here, because that bucket's about 4 times the size of the other one in the other game. So again, it's, you can get a lot in one scoop. So there we go, let's do a bit more. Again, I came too early out of that one. So on here there's a windrowers, and there are, so that's just a small forager, or what you want to call it. These are that's a windrower, I think. Yeah, that's a windrower. That just puts the grass into rows to make it easier to pick up, and that is a tedder. And what that does, that turns the grass over and in effect lets it dry, so you turn it into hay, I think it is. Basically, is that the same as a windrower? And that's that there. Now over in this corner there's Big X. I think is he in this corner? Big X. He just did that, didn't he? So just don't mind hopping around. We'll find Big X for you. Here's Big X. Alright, this is Big X. So on the front of Big X, is it Big X? Yeah. Yeah, Big X, yeah, on the front. So that mows the grass and coughs it straight out the back of the machine, straight into the trailer. So it's just a much quicker way of mowing your grass. It does exactly the same as this, but obviously if you use that, then you have to then go and pick it up afterwards. So again, that does two jobs with one action. That, I don't know what that is. I bought that for something and I can't remember what I bought it for. I can't even remember what it does. So that's a good farmer, isn't it? Right, so where have we been so far? Seen that. I think we've actually just about been everywhere apart from one more place I just want to show you. And we need to get into me pickup truck for that. There we go, right. Follow me, as they say. See where we're heading to. This is where field 5 and 6. These are the first two fields I bought and harvested them, 5 and 6. But so we're so far away from the bit of off-road, and they're so far away from the farm. It's a pain to transport it back. Right. So here we go. So this is my start of my solar farm. These are all solar panels. That is the start of my solar farm there, and eventually I'm going to fill the whole of this field up. I've got one wind generator sat in the middle of this field just because I can, and over here this is going to be the start of my wind farm. So eventually I'm going to fill this field up with wind turbines. Pity we couldn't actually climb up on top of them, which is a pain. But we can go up the ladder, but that's it, we can't go anywhere else. But that's my wind farm, or the start of it. So that's it, folks. I think there's nowhere else to go. We've given you the guided tour of the farm. So basically, that's what you can achieve after a year's worth of gaming. That's what you can actually achieve from starting off from field 16, and gradually buying more fields, and then adding to it and putting the right crop in and selling at the right time, and just keep on until you get to this point where we are now. I probably made most of my money from actually doing the silage, because when they offer twice the value, then that's where you can actually make some credit. So there you go, folks. I hope you've actually enjoyed the 8-9 videos that I've done. But I don't think we'll be visiting the farm again, because my next project will be to actually start on Farming Simulator 17. So hopefully we'll try a few little videos in that. So I hope you enjoyed this set of videos, and it's given you a taster of Farming Simulator, and might prompt you to go and buy it if the price was right, so to speak. So we'll see you again soon, folks. Bye bye for now.